Good evening and welcome. I'm Linda Lyons, President of Soroptimist International of Huntington Beach. Thank you so much for making our fundraiser possible. A quick note that we will be taking pictures during the event. Anyone who does not want to appear in a screenshot is welcome to turn off their video camera. Additionally, this event has already been recorded and will be put on our YouTube channel. First of all, I want to thank Terry Rose for her amazing tech skills. Very grateful and appreciative. And now I'd like to introduce our speaker, Allison Cuff. Allison Cuff, single mother of three, epitomizes the meaning of Soroptimist. We first met Allison and her three children when she applied for and received a Live Your Dream Award in 2016. In 2017, Allison became one of our Dolly Wakem adopted moms, and we got to know her now teenage daughter, Lacey, and the twins, Lexi and Nate. So in 2019, when our club decided to go beyond the cash award and create the Dream Beyond program, we chose Allison to be our first recipient. Not only has Allison been the sole support of her three kids, but going to college, she worked on campus, and during the holidays for a florist shop, she always found time to volunteer. When her kids were little, she actually found an organization where the kids could volunteer with her. Despite her challenges with statistics, Allison received her AA from Orange Coast College in 2019, continued to take additional classes at Coastline College, and this fall will begin to complete her journey to a bachelor's degree at Cal State East Bay virtually. Allison's focus is on gerontology, which fits right into her current career as the community engagement coordinator for Jamboree Housing for their Huntington Beach and Irvine locations. Not to let her going back to fall to wayside her volunteer organizations, Allison continues to volunteer for the SHIP program and serves on the Community Legal Aid Southern California Board. And last but not least, in February 2021, Allison became a member of Soroptimist International of Huntington Beach, and beginning this July will serve as our co-director of membership. I am proud to introduce Allison Cuff, and please give her a silent but warm welcome through the reaction button or chat feature.
Thank you, ladies. I see you all excited behind your mute buttons. It's amazing. Yes, I'm so grateful to the Soroptimist for supporting me for, 3 years in a row. It's totally amazing. I mean, I know it's been more than 3 years, but you know what I mean. I have become a Soroptimist member due to the fact that the Soroptimist mission and values match exactly the type of person that I am. And so in order to be able to do it as a group and still feel the same way I do about other people, it's amazing. So, I mean, a global volunteer organization that provides women and girls with access to education and training they need to achieve economic empowerment. Wow, right? It's amazing. And so not only me as a college student, having the support from Soroptimist myself, I think gave me more tools to be able to become a Soroptimist and give back to those that come after me. I really enjoy being on the scholarship boards because you get to read about people's lives, even though they're really similar to your own. I still get to help other women. So if you're thinking about becoming a member, if you're not already, I would highly recommend it. All of the ladies are wonderful and supportive. Everyone has so much knowledge. Even if it's something not related to Soroptimist, there's someone to help you with whatever it is. It's a great group of women who are just wonderful, and I can't wait for when I grow up so I can be just like them. Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. That was fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time out of your crazy, crazy day to do that. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And now I'd like to introduce the woman who made this event possible with her creativity and very big heart, all the way from Klamath Falls, Oregon, the one and only Georgette Sleeth, Director of Fundraising.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our second virtual card making fundraiser for the Soroptimist International of Huntington Beach. We very much appreciate you joining us and hope that you're going to have a fantastic time tonight. Just want you to know that 100% of the profits from this evening will be going to services for our moms in the Huntington Beach community. They'll go towards grants and scholarships to some very, very deserving women. So we very much appreciate your participation. And we hope that you have a fantastic time tonight. My name is Georgette. I am the current VP of fundraising and also dabble in some card making. So I will be your instructor this evening. And don't be nervous. This is very simple. I made it so that you can very easily create 3 beautiful cards. We're going to start off first with this one. This one is probably the simplest of all the ones we're going to do. That way we can build your confidence up a little bit and then move on to the next one. So I'm just going to move this up to the corner so you can keep an eye on it if you want to refer to what it looks like while we're working. So I need everybody to pull out their packet. It's very, I think, obvious which one you're looking for, the one with the red and the checkers. And you want to very carefully take your items out of the envelope because when there's little pieces, they tend to go flying. I think this one might have had a couple little pieces. Also, they tend to stick inside the envelope. So if you think you're missing something as we're going, make sure you just double check your envelope to see if there is a piece still sitting in there. So let's just kind of arrange this a little so I have some room. We're going to start with your card base. And you'll notice that there's a crease down the middle. That's actually called a score line. So I want everybody to just fold their card at the score line. Just give it a really good firm crease. And then we're going to go ahead and just kind of organize a little bit. It'll become pretty obvious what goes with what. This one is just basically doing a lot of matting on top of other pieces. As I said, I wanted to keep them really simple so nobody would feel intimidated. Nobody would need to have a lot of tools and things in order to do this. So basically, we're just going to build the front first. And then I always like to have a little something on the inside of the card too. So we'll have some extra pieces after we build the front that we're going to use on the inside. So if you could find your big red piece, this is the one we're going to start with. And you just need your handy dandy glue stick. And you want to make sure when you're gluing, let's get out of my way. When you're gluing, you want to make sure you're going all the way to the edges, because if you don't get the edges really good, then your cardstock's going to curl up and peel off. I also don't want you to be shy with your glue. Use plenty of it. Don't be sparing when you glue because you want this to really stick. For those of you who are more advanced, you can use double-sided tape, you can use tape runners, but for the simplicity purposes for this class, I just told everybody to have a glue stick. So just want to make sure I got all my edges really good. So once you have your glue all over, you're just gonna align this on the top of your card and then just kind of gently lay it down on all the sides. The nice thing is about using a glue stick versus double-sided tape is that there's some give. So if you laid it down a little crooked, you can kind of slide it before the glue dries and you can adjust your alignment. Then just make sure you rub really well all along the edges so that you have a good seal. Okay. So now you should look like this. And the next piece you're going to grab is going to be the one that says happy birthday. Happy birthday. And we're just going to do the same exact thing on this one. We're going to lay it down, glue it really well all along the back. Now, the one thing about using the glue sticks though is it does get really messy. That's why I had recommended you have maybe some scrap paper to put underneath your pieces as you're gluing, because then when the scrap paper gets gluey, you can just toss it aside and get a clean piece. Your fingers are also going to get very gluey, so I actually have a damp paper towel handy so that when my fingers get really bad, I can just wipe them off on that. So once you have that done, you just want to center it over the red piece of cardstock so that you have even borders all the way around. And again, just really firmly adhere it. If you do have some glue on your cardstock, usually you can just roll it off. And actually, we're going to be covering this with other pieces, so it's okay. All right. So hopefully everybody is keeping up with me, and your card's going to look like this now. So next, we're going to start assembling our little triangles. So for the triangles, you're going to want to make sure you take your checkered piece and align it all the way to the top edge of the red one. So we're not matting it the way that we did with the even borders. This one I took all the way to the top edge. Unless you like the look better the other way, but it's totally up to you. I just thought it looked good to have the checkers because then when you lay it down, they're going to go right up against that red instead of having red against red, if that makes sense. So again, we're just gluing. And assembling our little triangles. Just make sure it got enough there. I always second guess. Okay. So I'm lining it all the way to the top. So I only have the red showing on the two sides. And just make sure it's really secure. And set that aside. And then we're going to do the same thing with our other triangle. Making sure I get all my edges. And again, aligning it at the top. Okay. So that one, actually, I'm scooching it over just a little bit because I didn't like the alignment. There we go. Now you should have two triangles ready to go. You might notice the pattern is a little bit different from what you have. This one's kind of sideways pattern. This one's straight. I liked this paper better, but I couldn't find any more of it. I live in a small town now and things are very hard to come by. So I had to use a similar paper for my sample. Okay, so I just glued the back of one of my triangles and I'm aligning this kind of, I guess you would say 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the white, from the left side of the white piece of cardstock. And then I'm aligning it right up against the top of that white cardstock. I didn't go all the way up to the red, like to the edge of the red. I went to the edge of the white. So that way you can still see that red border. Okay, just gonna make sure that's really secure. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. And just make sure when you're laying this down that you're putting the side that doesn't have a red border, you're putting that along the white. Now they're overlapping a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to be covering that up with a flower. And again, just make sure it's pressed down really well. Oh, and we're starting to come up a little bit. Okay, so now you should look like that. It's coming together, looking cute. Okay, so now I want everybody to find their biggest daisy. You're gonna see actually there's 4 different daisies in here. So you can kind of put them in line to see this. They're all different sizes. So for the flower on the front, we're using the 2 biggest daisies. Okay. And you can lay it down wherever you want on there. It's going to look cute no matter what you do. But all you're going to do is glue. I just do around the circle. I actually don't necessarily get all of the leaves because then it's got like a little bit more dimension to it if it's not glued down flat at the petals, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to align it here and just press around the circle. So you can see it looks a little better. You can actually even curl it up a little if you want your petals to have some dimension. Okay. But just make sure right around the circle is firmly pressed to it. And then you should have a big yellow circle. You're going to have a little yellow circle and a big yellow circle. So we're going to use the big one for the front. And glue that. And then again, just put it down in the center there. Press it down. I love daisies. I don't know what it is. They just are so happy. Okay, so you should all have a flower that looks like this now. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is adhere our daisy to the card. So I would recommend that you don't glue like the edges of the petals. Leave some areas where there's no glue. Just do it right in the center. Do a really good circular gluing. The reason being is we want to be able to go under the petals to put our leaves down. So if it's glued all around the edges, it's going to be harder to get your leaves in there. And we're just going to center that right there. And I'm just pressing where the glue was. Okay. Give you all a minute to catch up. So right now, this is what you should be looking at. Sorry, upside down. Here you go. Now it looks a little bland with the white on white, but that's okay. We're going to be adding our green leaves, and then that'll make our daisies stand out more. So for the leaves, you should have 3 of them. And you can put your leaves wherever you like. You know, I usually will do like 2 together in one. You can do 3 all separate. You can do whatever you want. This is where you get to take creative license and just make it however you want it to look. So you just want to be careful when you lay it down. You don't want to be covering up like your happy birthday. So I'm going to do this one a little different than the last one, just so you can see that you have options. But just put really good glue all over the back of your leaf. And then lay it down wherever you think it looks good. And then you're going to do the same with the other two. And you can just play around with it before you put glue on it and see if you like how it looks. Like you can just figure out if you like it up high, if you like it down low. Like I said, you can have leaves in 3 different places if you want, like that. Totally up to you. And the leaves also, if you flip them over, they can face the same direction or opposite directions. So I think I am going to do one there. Pressing it down real well. And I think I'll put the other guy right there. Really can't go wrong where you put it. It's gonna look nice no matter what you decide to do. That's kind of the fun of it, is seeing how everybody's are different. Just lay that little guy in there. Press him down. Oops. Made my rigging shake. Pressed too hard. Okay. So we now have the front of our card complete. See how easy that was? So we have a happy, fun card almost done. So the next thing we're going to do is assemble on the inside. And for this, you want to get your big piece of red cardstock and just glue all on the back of it. You will be an expert gluer by the end of this class, or a very messy gluer by the end of this class. We are going to lay this right along the bottom edge of our card. Before you do that, make sure you don't have your card upside down. You want to have it, actually, you could do it at the top too if you want. That would be cute too. Doesn't really matter. I chose to do it at the bottom, but you do what you want. Okay. And then you should have a thin gingham strip of paper that we're going to mat onto that. So it's going to go all the way to the edge. So you're going to have a border on each side, but not on the ends. And you just want to kind of center it. And again, if you don't like your placement, you can probably wiggle it a little bit and get it where you want it. And then once you have that, you want to really firmly rub it to make sure it stays. So cute. Okay. I get excited about the weirdest things. Okay, so now we're going to do our last little flower. You're going to pick your tiny one. Go ahead and glue the back of that little guy. And center it over this one. And I'm guessing this is the piece most of you will be like, I didn't get one. And then you'll find it stuck in the bottom of your envelope, but you should have a tiny little yellow circle. And by the way, I am human, so I do make mistakes. So if you did not, in fact, get a piece, I'm going to have my email address at the end of this video. You can email me and I will get it mailed to you as soon as possible. I don't want anybody not having a completed card, but I did have to make 180 card kits, and I'm human, and there may or may not have been wine involved as well when making these. So if you're missing a piece, just let me know, and I promise you I will get it to you. Okay, so this is the last step. I'm just doing that circular gluing here again in the middle of that flower. You can put it in the center. You can put it off to the side. You can put it to the left. Totally up to you. All I want you to be cautious about is that it's not hanging out past the edge of the card on any side, because then it's not going to fit in your envelope. Actually, I think I'm going to do this one in the center, because I did the sample card. I did it off to the side, so you can see a couple of different options. Kind of like the center even better. And that's it. As promised, our first card was very, very easy. But somebody's going to get this card from you and they're going to absolutely love it. So while you're finishing up, I am going to get my damp rag and wipe up my area here, or else I'm going to have a massive mess by the end of this class. So feel free to do the same. Clean up your fingers, clear out your area, because we're going to be getting out more pieces. We don't want them sticking. Okay. Dry one too. All right, that's going to have to do for now. Okay, so congratulations, you finished your first card. So go ahead and set that aside now. And then we're going to move on to our next card, which actually I don't think is really much more difficult than the one we just did. So this is a little lemon thinking of you card. And of course, like I said, I like to have something on the inside too. I just fell in love with this paper when I saw it. I got it at Joann's. If anybody is wanting to buy this paper, I just thought it was so pretty. So I'm going to lay this sample off to the side and then get my card kit. And again, just be real careful when you're pulling stuff out, because there are some little pieces. Sure, got it all. And there's my card base. Just double checking my envelope. And set that stuff off to the side. And then we're going to go ahead and just start the same way we did the last time, is by folding it at the score line and just making sure you have a really good crease. And then I want you to look for your piece. It's like a white polka dot cardstock. We're going to start with this one. And in case you're wondering, this is called dry embossing. I actually ran these pieces through a Sizzix machine with a little embossing folder and made the polka dots for you, because polka dots equal happy. And that was the whole point of when I was designing these cards. I wanted them to be just sunny and happy and summery. So go ahead and do your gluing all over. And when you're done, you're going to align this piece right up to the very top of your card. So our last card that we did was vertical. This one we're doing a horizontal card. Okay. And the next piece I want you to find is the really cute lemon paper, the big one. And I'm sure you know what I'm going to say. Want to glue all over the back of it. And now this one, you're going to align all the way at the bottom of the front of your card. Don't worry that there's a gap between the two pieces. We're going to be covering that. So all along the bottom edge. And it should look like this. You should have like this space in between, which is fine. Because the next thing we're going to do is going to get one of our pink strips. You should have two pink strips. We're going to use one on the inside of the card later. We're going to use one on the outside right now. So we're going to, you guessed it, glue our pink strip. Notice I'm moving my stuff all over. I'm trying to avoid glue piles. Usually I do this with scrap paper. And like I said, when the scrap paper gets gluey, I toss and get another piece. But for filming purposes, I didn't think a bunch of junky scrap paper was going to look so good. So once you have that done, just line it right down the middle there. Okay. So I noticed on some of my samples as I was making these that this white one is hanging off the edge a little bit. I think when I ran it through the Sizzix, it kind of flattened the paper, made it a little bit wider. So that's really easy to fix after the class is over. If you have a good sharp pair of scissors, you can just turn it over backwards and just snip that. Just cut along there, and it's very easily fixed. So if you're having that problem. Okay. So next, we're going to lay down our Thinking of You white strip. Gluing, gluing, gluing. And then that is going to go centered over the pink. So you'll have a pink border on the top and the bottom, but it's going to go all the way to your edges. So no pink border on the edges, just the top and bottom. All right, giving everybody a chance to catch up. So while you are finishing that, I'm pulling out my little lemons. I know it doesn't look like it, but they're slightly different in size. There's one slightly smaller. One of them is going to have a pop dot adhered on the back of it. That's one we're going to set aside for now. You're going to use the other one that does not have a pop dot. That's the one that's going to fit onto our little lemon leaf here, base here. So you just see, I don't think it's possible to put this down wrong, but just make sure before you glue that you know what the alignment is. And then you just flip it over and glue the back of the lemon. And then you're going to put it down on top of here. I'm thinking I probably should have done this first, but it's not going to matter too much. We also need to add these two little green pieces. They're slightly darker than the green. So we're going to be gluing them and adhering them like this, because it's just going to give your leaves a little more dimension. So again, just know your alignment before you put your glue down so you don't glue on the wrong side. You want that arch to match the arch there. So I'm going to flip it over and glue it. And it's going right up to the top edge of that left arch. Push it real well. And then do the same thing for the other one. It might have to overlap a little bit down at the base here, which is fine. Just want to make sure it's tucked under my lemon. Mental note, next time put these on before we put the lemon down. But that's okay. Hopefully it worked for you. It worked for me. Okay. So now we have our big lemon assembled. And again, you can use creative license here on how you want to do this. Just keep in mind a couple of things. You don't want anything hanging off the edge of the card because then it's not going to fit in the envelope. Also, we're going to be layering another lemon on top. So before you glue this down, I would kind of play around with your alignment. Like if you want your lemon to go like this, or if you want it to go like, I guess that didn't really work. You can do something like that. I think it works best kind of tilting it to the left. And again, not coming off the edge. Also not covering up your thinking of you. I'm going to move it a little higher on the page just because I want to see as much of this paper as possible. And then I think it brings out the white more when you have the green on there. So anyways, I'm babbling. You do what you want. I'm sure you'll make it beautiful. Okay, so we're going to glue our big lemon down first. Now, not put them up here. This one might need a little extra pushing because the little polka dots are a rough surface, so it might not stick as easily. Although, as long as your lemon base is really secure, it's okay if the leaves are coming up a little. It actually adds some dimension. Just want to make sure this part here is really firmly adhered. All right. So now you're going to get your other lemon and flip it over. This is probably the hardest thing you're going to do with this card is you got to get your fingernail under that double-sided tape and peel it off. And then you're going to adhere your other lemon. Okay, whoops. And you kind of want to do it so they're overlapping. Like I said, you can come up here, can kind of come out here. Whatever you think looks best. I actually think I'm going to do mine this way because I realized I didn't line up this guy real well. I've got this green here. So we're just going to cover it up with another lemon. But once you have it where you want it, just firmly press where the pop dot is. That stuff sticks really well and it'll hold it. And I just like the three-dimensional look that it brings to the card. So now we've completed the front of our card. Yay, yay us. Okay, so we're going to do the inside. And again, just make sure before you lay anything down that you have your card facing the right way so you don't end up putting it in the wrong side or the wrong place. This is going to be going down here. When you open your card, it's going to be going on the right side down at the bottom. So you know what to do. Get your glue stick. And when you got it all ready, just kind of start at the inside of the card. I do this so I don't do it too far over. You want the card to be able to close. So you want to make sure you don't go past the score line, if that makes sense, because you want it to be able to close. And you can kind of wiggle it around to get it where you want it. And then once you have it where you want it, just rub it everywhere. Make sure it's sticking real well. And then we're going to move on to the strip of the lemon paper. And this is going to be just like the last card we did, where we're just going to be matting it so that you'll have the pink on the top and the bottom. It's going to come all the way to the edge. Okay. And just make sure you do your best to have like an even matting of pink on both sides. And again, if this is a little too long, you could just get some scissors and snip. Okay. So I had noticed on this paper, they had two different kinds of lemons. They had this kind, and then they also had this kind. So I was like, I want two different kinds of lemons on our card. So our last lemon's a little bit different than the other ones. You just want to find the side that's got the cuts, like you can see it much better on this side than on that side. That's going to be the top where it's got those little lines. And then we're going to glue the yellow piece right on top of that. So cute. Okay. So you're going to look like this. And then when that's done, just glue the back of the lemon. And this is where you get to choose where you want it to go. Just being careful that's not hanging over the edge of anything. I believe I just did mine. How did I do mine? I can just play around with it. I'm just going to tilt mine here in the corner. But you put it wherever you like. All right. Now I've created 2 beautiful summary cards. Yay. Hopefully everybody's feeling much more confident now in their card making abilities and loving what they're doing. So while you finish that up, I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to clean up my big gluey mess as best I can. At least we know this glue works well because it's sticking really well to my mat. But that's okay. Because we're down to our last card already, if you can believe it. Okay, so our last card has definitely got the most pieces of anything because I didn't want to scare you guys off at the beginning, but it's a very simple card. It's just got a lot more pieces and it will be worth all the work because it's really adorable, if I do say so myself. And that is the sunflower card. And hopefully you can see it's got a really cute little ladybug on there too. Okay. And then on the inside, it says thank you. So again, I'm going to set this off to the side so you can refer to it if you want to see what it should look like. And then pull out your last kit. There's definitely little pieces in this one, so be real careful. As I said, this one's got more pieces than the other. And it's got some odd little things in there too that I'll explain to you. Okay. So let's just kind of put all the little pieces over to the side. And then again, take your card base, increase it real well. So this is going to be another horizontal card. So it's going to open this way. Okay. So you want to find your big brown piece of cardstock. And if you weren't on mute right now, you would all yell, glue the back of it, because you all know what to do now. Glue it really well. Okay. Now we're going to lay this down centered on the front of our card. So you want even white above and below as best you can. This is thick cardstock, so you might need to press a little extra hard, especially around the edges, to get it to stick at first. All right. Then you want to find your wood grain paper, which is again from Joann's, one of my favorite papers. I've actually designed so many cards using this paper now. For those of you who took my class last October, when we did the other fundraiser, you might recognize this paper. We did the pumpkin card with this paper. And I taught a class to some senior citizens using it and made it a fence with an Easter bunny hopping through it. That was super cute. So it's just a really great paper for all seasons. I shouldn't tell you these things because then when oh, did I say Michael's? I got it at Joann's. When I go to Joann's to shop for this stuff, it might be all gone because I told you guys about it. Don't shop at the Joann's in Klamath Falls. Okay. There we go. Just centered that right down the middle. And again, just even matting on both sides. Okay. Let's set this aside because that's going to go on the inside of our card. So now we kind of want to just arrange our flowers because you're going to see, you're going to have 3 different sizes of 2 different flowers. So you have a small, medium, large of that kind of wavy, wacky pattern, and then you're going to have a small, medium, and large of this pattern. So we're going to be layering these. So the biggest one is going to go on top of the biggest one, and then the medium on top of the medium, small on top of the small. So the small guy we're going to set aside for now because that's going to be used on the inside of our card. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And then again, when I made these, I just glued the circle part so that it wasn't all pressed down flat. It just was more dimensional. So we're just going to glue the circle. And you can't really go wrong with placement on top of this. It's going to look cute no matter what you do. But if you want, you can play around with it and see how you want your leaves to line up. But just put the center in the center of the big one, if that makes sense. And rub it down real well. And then we're going to do the same thing with this the medium one. Just lay it on top. Press it down real well. Okay. Now you should hopefully have a large, it's not quite a circle, but a large brown, almost circle piece, a medium one, and a small one. So set the small one aside for the inside of the card, and then you just put your large one on the big flower, medium one on the medium flower. Okay. And there you go. There's really no bad placement of that either. As long as it's in the center, it's going to look cute. All right. So you should have several leaves. I believe I used 6 on the front. So let's count out. And you also are going to have 2 different sizes. You're going to have 3 big ones and 4 little ones. So you can choose to do your leaf placement however you want. I just want to show you the inside of the sample. Oh, I forgot to put the leaf on there. The inside guy, you know what? I'm wondering if I meant to put a leaf in there. I think I might have just wanted you to have extra leaves in case you needed it. You do what you want. You can save a couple of leaves and use money inside. Not like that, of course, because it's hanging off. You could do something like that. I think that's what I meant to do. Okay. But it's totally up to you. If you like it with no leaf on the inside, you can do that. This is again where you get to do your creative license. I would just recommend you use the large leaves on the outside because they're a little too big for that little flower on the inside. So we're going to do this similarly to how I did the daisies, where I'm not going to glue all the way out to the edges because we want to be able to tuck leaves under. And it's a lot easier to do if the whole flower isn't glued down. So I'm putting glue in a big circle on my large flower. And I'm going to do it kind of a little off to the right towards the top of the card. You don't want to do it too far over because you want to allow some room for leaves. And then the smaller one, same thing. I'm not going all the way to the edges with the glue. I'm just doing a big circular motion in the middle. I'm kind of going off to the side here. And then just firmly pressing it down at the center where the glue is. And then this is where you get to play around with your leaves and decide where you want them to go on your flowers. You can just figure it out before you adhere the glue. Like maybe do a big leaf with a little leaf. You might notice that the paper is textured on one side and not on the other. I personally like the textured side up, but that's up to you. But just use your creative license. The other thing too is you'll notice the leaves are pointier on one side and rounder on the other. So it's up to you if you want the pointy side out or if you want the rounder side out. I think I like the pointy side out. Okay. And I think I'm definitely going to save a couple leaves for the inside of my card. I think it look I liked how that looked better. Maybe a big guy down there. So it should tuck in pretty easily for you if you didn't glue all the way to the edges of your flower. And now I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna put my last guy. Slipping away from me. I don't have any fingernails right now. Yeah, I think that looks cute. Hopefully I'm not going too slowly for everybody. I'm actually a very slow crafter. No, I don't like that. Thank goodness for glue. I can kind of move it like that better. Okay. All right. So now what I want you to do is find your little black ladybug base, and then there's a little red piece that's going to go with her. You might have some little pieces of paper when I use my die cut machine. It's such tiny holes, it doesn't really get them out. And I'm sorry, I was not going to poke out the ladybug holes, but if you just kind of roll your fingers around, it'll kind of make the holes show up better. But we're going to align it so that the little V on her back is at the bottom. It's at her bottom, if that makes sense. So go ahead and put your glue on the little red piece. And lay it down. This is where fingernails would come in handy. But I broke all of mine. Okay. This is where gluey fingers cause trouble. Stay the ladybug. Pardon me while I wipe my fingers off. Okay, so again, you could put your ladybug anywhere you want on the front of the card. On this one, I kind of put her here, but I mean, you can do whatever you like. I mean, you can just play around and see if there's another place where you think it looks better. Totally up to you. But when you figure it out, you're just going to put some glue on her back. press really firmly when you have her where you want her. Just give me a little bit to catch up. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, you notice these two little dots down here. These are really cool. I think they're called candies. Bought them years ago at Scrapbook Convention. I have them in a gazillion colors. The cool thing about them is they kind of look like brads, but they're flat enough that you can run this through at the post office. It'll go through their meter and it won't rip the card and it won't upset the postal workers. So they're made specially that they will fit on cards that they'll mail okay. So because they're special, they also require special little adhesive to adhere them. So you should have just like a little foam thing in your kit. It'll might look like one piece. It's actually two pieces if you fold it. And it's basically still just like a double-sided pop dot. It's just specially made by the company to fit inside of their little brad things, thingamajiggies, whatever you call them. And so again, you have to peel off the tape, which is easier said than done. So basically they're like little tiny pop dots, but they fit perfectly inside of there. And then you can put them wherever you like. I am kind of into the symmetry thing, so I usually just do like two next to each other. You do whatever you'd like. Just good luck peeling those little pieces off. Ooh, got it. Oop, too close. So just make sure when you have it laid down where you want it that you press really firmly so it sticks well. Okay. I wonder how many of you are still trying to get the backing off those little tiny pieces. And now we have completed the front of our card. Ta-da! So let's go on the inside. And ooh, a little top heavy. We're gonna mount the thank you on top of the brown piece. So you're gonna have even border all the way around if you center it properly. I'm just laying it down in the center so that it's matted evenly, hopefully, all the way around. Okay. And then after you've done that, you can flip it over and glue all over the back. Trying to find a non-gluey spot. Running out of options here. Okay. So it's up to you if you want to do it in the middle, if you want to do it up high. The reason I did it up high on that one was if you wanted to write like a message. If you do it in the middle, it kind of cuts off your writing space. That's why I did it more up here. But you could even, if you really wanted to, you could even put it up here and have this whole part blank for writing a message. So that's up to you. Now that everybody is an expert at assembling flowers, we're going to do our very last flower of the evening. Just do a little glue circle. Which side did I glue on? Okay, just to be safe, let's do some more. And lay it over this guy. And then press really firmly in the center. Okay. And then adhere your little brown circle piece. And the texture side up. Now you have a cute little tiny, little teeny tiny sunflower. So if you did save some leaves for the inside of your card, you want to again remember, don't glue all the way to the edges because you want to be able to tuck your leaves. So if you didn't save any leaves and you just wanted a flower without leaves on the center, you don't have to worry. You can glue anywhere you want on this thing. I'm just doing a circle in the middle. And you could put it down here. You could put it here. I think I'm going to go here. Press it down. And then I'm going to play around, see how I want to do my leaves on the inside of this card. Well, that didn't work real well. It's already coming up. It's okay. When the glue dries, it'll be fine. Very last part of this card of the class, and it's going to be the part that causes me the most trouble. Okay, so I'm obviously having some glue issues. So you know what I'm going to do? It's actually just, now that I know where I want my leaves, I'm just going to glue them down and then put the flower on top. It's always a learning process when you're crafting. I'm going to do one like that. One like that. And I'm going to add some more glue to this guy because he wasn't sticking real well. And now he's sticking. And we have a really cute inside of our card. We did it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you loved your cards. I hope you feel really good about the fact that you just helped out some very deserving women. And if you stay till the end of this video, we're going to put up our website information for Soroptimist of Huntington Beach, so you can learn more about what it is that we do. We'll also put up my email address, so if you were missing any pieces, you can let me know and I'll get those to you. And if you want to send me any pictures of your completed cards, especially if you were holding them up with a big smile on your face, if you don't mind us sharing them on our social media, we would appreciate those as well. Just want to remind everybody, I'll be sending out an email with the link to the Zoom class. And then if you love these cards and want to make another set, we do still have quite a few sets available. I didn't know how many to make, so I made a ton. So if you're interested in purchasing, then that's totally fine with us. You're welcome to make as many sets as you want. They're $30 for a kit. And if you buy a papyrus card like this, you'd be paying at least $12. So you're coming out ahead.
So would everybody hold up their 3 cards like Kathy just did? I'm going to take a screenshot right now.
I'm only seeing you mostly, Terry. Are you?
I see them all.
Okay, as long as you can see everybody.
Yep.
Wait.
Got it.
I'm making.
Come on, Georgette.
I'm trying. I got a lot going on here. Well, here. Let's do mine.
Got them.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, Georgette. They're awesome. I can't wait to mail them. And
I'm not mailing one to anybody. I'm keeping them.
I was gonna say, make sure you are very selective who gets them. Only people you really like.
card-worthy people.
Card-worthy people who appreciate the work that went into it.
Well, you could tell the hard work you put into all these cutouts. They're just adorable.
Well, I appreciate
Thank you. I have to thank you, Georgette, for getting me so excited to want to make cards now, because I'm like a card making fiend.
My life will
so-
be complete when I hear Linda Lyons say that.
So, Carrie, Allison wanted to know who else was making cards, so I told her you were.
I'm having a blast doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's good.
Well, hopefully this gave you some inspiration, Carrie, and some
more
ideas. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and my daughter gave me her cricket, her old cricket. So
Oh, there's no turning back once you get that cricket.
now I got that too. So anyway, but thanks for all your hard work, Georgette. It was really fun.
Oh, great.
Don't leave us. Don't leave us.
I might not.
Good.
Gotta
leave
figure
us.
my life out.
Don't leave us. You don't even have to make cards anymore. Just
Exactly.
Now that I'm done cutting hundreds and hundreds of pieces and making card kits, now I can find the time to figure my life out and what I'm going to do about Soroptimist. Well, I know. I love you guys. I just really don't want to leave. So
we don't want you to leave.
Whatever you decide to do is fine with us. We wish you well.
But we'd rather you stay with us.
Of course, but no pressure.
I just think there should be board retreats in Southern Oregon.
Yes. That sounds like fun.
We don't need a board retreat. We just have to have a meeting retreat.
There you go. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
I gotta go blow my nose again, big time.
Bye.